YouTube, welcome to Upside DIY. So this is pretty much the third part of making this cooler and things. Most of the stuff that I used, I just finished gluing the bottom gasket, but mainly epoxy, a 5-minute resin epoxy, a couple of small pieces of wood to help hold down until the glue dries up, and I think I have a wood, some scissors, and just a few other effects. Just, scissors to trim up the rubber. Here's the other piece of wood. But this is how the cooler is supposed to actually work in the end. That, it's going to hold this tie strap. It's going to, or it's basically a belt and stuff. It's going to just hold the lid down. And I'm going to touch up a few things with the gasket, but it's going to keep the gap from opening, so that hopefully the air pressure in there, probably 60 psi, and the air pressure is supposed to just kind of keep the volume of pressure in there consistent and things, so that it and things with the old tire inner tube. So I tape the back part of this cooler, the top gasket, and things, like try to mark a couple of lines. And this back piece, it could have been straighter. There's one line there and then this line, but I didn't expect. And just basically at this edge, so that I don't lose too much material there. So let's go ahead and the line. Let's see. Maybe I should have. Well, I know it's at this line, but I think I might need to leave some extra. And I just have enough glue. Just I need to actually out the top of the lid. Maybe on a separate piece would be good. So right here, I cut the sides. See, so I want to keep as much material as I can. And then I'm probably going to basically, and I didn't cut too much of it, so I'll get it better. Alright, so I didn't need these two pieces, maybe. And then these last corners, I've got a side, pretty much, so kind of, and the very edge of the piece that I slid, the very edge, I didn't really glue that down, but the whole, it's kind of glued. A little bit of the extra stuff. Alright, so I've probably got enough epoxy just to finish a little bit on the inside of here that's going to try to leak and stuff. Maybe if I could, well, I could probably use some of the extra crazy glue, so I might be able to use crazy glue, but I trimmed the corners. Probably, I could seal it up with silicone. It's just on YouTube. So I got two. Each one was $4. Two of those. Then I found this on the way. I'm not even sure what color it is or anything. It was sterling, no, stripping white. So, but I needed this epoxy. I was going to, and I'm still not finished, but I've got a few more pickups. But I've got the glue for so I'm gonna make another video and stuff for this. YouTube, welcome to Upside DIY. So this is pretty much part 3, I would say. So I put all these rubber pieces. I used tape first, and then I pretty much had just the basic square or rectangle, and then I started to cut off the curvature, and some of this stuff isn't, well, just start to just glue it down as even as possible and as smooth as possible. From gluing this first side, it was a little bit, there's always going to be something hard to but get finish, adapt, with the speed of the glue. But I use the wood stick for the top, and then I use this small corner piece. Just getting used to some of the tools and stuff. There is a curve to this, so it kind of goes pretty good within the corner where it's curved. So I was holding this wooden piece like this, and then I would have the long piece on top, and working with this epoxy and access to apply the glue, and then just hold it in place for a minute, and I'll be right back. Alright, so this side is glued in. I don't think I overlapped it. And even the piece wasn't, but using the wood pieces to keep things to start. And there is a weak spot right here, which I might have to go over somehow, maybe with crazy glue or something. But when the glue starts to like dry and start to stick, that's the good sign, I would say. I actually got that air bubble out just by rubbing on it right when it's starting to really dry up and harden and stuff. That's when things are actually having the results, I think. Hopefully this. Alright, so for this corner I actually use this cork. I would actually hold this, especially at this problem spot. It could also fit really nicely inside the corners. So if and also again waiting for the things to dry, I'll hold this and then press it down on any other excess areas without ruining too much. Probably not. So I might have to get these others. So I got a little bit of glue on that last part. So I can kind of see where I left off the glue right there. So I'm just gonna, just put in as much glue and just added, with any excess I could add at this little spot here. Pretty much connecting the seal where it needs. Helps keep, push out the air bubbles, and then so it's all the way up to this very left corner or right corner where it needs to. I could actually use the piece of wood to show you guys. This helps keep going towards this, so towards the next section and stuff. So I'm going to probably just mainly put on the rubber and just this middle part for now, and then basically mix up just a little bit, enough of this epoxy, put on the rubber piece, and then it's going to add this part of the. So yeah, having this really adding a lot of sealing, but kind of like right here and stuff. There's on these small. Yeah, this edge of the stick really helped. Using pressure, and when the glue starts to harden up after a few minutes, the stuff that was coming that seemed like it wasn't getting stuck, it starts to get stuck, and you could kind of do a lot of different things with the glue when it's and then sorting out some type of tie down and adding. Oh yeah, once it starts to dry and stuff, you could really like you know, smoothing out any air gaps, and then it's just do this real fast. So I gotta double check where I want to put this gasket and stuff, and lining it up on the interior and the exterior. There are some guides and things to help, like this line right here, but the exterior line, it should be halfway on this blue line instead of the trade-off for a good tool that does a pretty good job. And then so just basically glued as much as I could on this, and right when it dries I just start to use, just mixed up a little bit, but it spread out, you know, I got to pretty much spread the whole part on the back of this. So you yeah, so I could even add more. It was a little bit stiffer. I think the thickness of the glue and just the overall, you know, whole project and things, it's going to start sealing just this part, but there might be other little small gaps and things, and I still haven't done the two that's going to press in on this corner or on these little, or this back piece when the lid's closed. So I'm going to just mix up enough epoxy for this and do the same thing, and it's going to be glued. So while I close that, I used some crazy glue, but while I closed the lid, or opened it actually, so gotta use some crazy glue with some of the epoxy. Seems to be okay sometimes, and when I open it, it comes undone, or not too bad, just a little bit. And trying to do this while things are drying up could be pretty useful. I did the inside for the most part, but while this is still trying to dry up, so when this opens, it wants to open, or you know, cause. But yeah, that the inside looks pretty good, especially this, you know, forward corner. That corner was really having a hard time. I think I could kind of save this just by letting things dry. But if I open it, or yeah, and get onto this spot again, it might encounter something different. Open it, and I might add pressure. I might even add the belt just to, yeah, I'll probably just open it once just to see how things got finished gluing down and things, or you know, yeah, glued down, and then I just want to close it and just kind of fill it. It does want to open up, so that belt, just because all the gasket that I'm putting into this, so I put the belt, basically I put it on upside down, but yeah, mainly just going to work with silicone or things like that, if just for the mold, I think. So I guess I could just put the cooler on top of most of the glued boxes until next time I work on it.